loves, welcome back to another video. Now in today's video I'm not doing an unboxing, I am actually going to be doing a movie review slash thoughts video. I not so recently watched Mermaid Power, which is the newest Barbie movie that has just come out about a month ago on Netflix, of course. So I thought I would share my thoughts because I guess Shannon and I tend to have very different opinions, and she agrees with everything I have to say, I already know that, but we tend to have different opinions, especially about Barbie movies. A lot of people are just fully against anything new and they won't accept anything that's new. I, however, am always more on the side of giving it a chance. Of course, the classics are the classics and nothing can compare to them. They're in their own league though. Shannon and I still like to give the benefit of the doubt to new movies, and of course we can appreciate and be thankful that there even are new movies, because they could just as easily stop making movies. So we're glad that there are still Barbie movies, but I was not excited for Mermaid Power. I wanted to watch it so I could have given it a chance and have seen it. Shannon has not seen it. She doesn't have Netflix and she wasn't really that keen to watch it anyway. When we went to Big City Big Dreams, we were very excited for it, but then we just haven't been the biggest fan of Brooklyn, mainly because we just don't like the whole dynamic of her being called Barbie Roberts as well, and kind of trying to push Barbie to the background, and bring ourselves to the foreground. And I don't know, it just doesn't seem to make sense. Like, yes, we can understand what they're trying to do with that, by portraying another character as Barbie so that people can relate, but in that sense then we should be making a Hispanic Barbie Roberts and an Asian Barbie Roberts, and, like, you know, a Barbie Roberts for every ethnicity out there. And if we were going to do that, there'd be a lot of Barbie Roberts, so it just doesn't really make sense when we just have one. Because then, like, well, what about all the other little girls out there that can't see themselves because there's no Barbie Roberts for their ethnicity or whatever it is? So that, you know, I could go off on a tangent about that, but that was just one of the kind of issues we had. But let me look at all of the points that I have. I had to go back to my message with Shannon and start. Well, first off, Mermaid Power. I didn't really like the title of it because we already got Princess Power, and oh my god, is the next movie going to be Fairy Power? Like, I thought they could have come up with something a little bit more original than that, because we've already done a Something Power movie. I also don't like that it's yet another mermaid movie. We love mermaid movies, but we have just recently had a mermaid movie not too long ago with Dolphin Magic, and we've also just recently had a princess movie of Princess Adventure, and I know recently is like within the last couple years, but when you compare it to a fairy movie, it's been quite a long time since we've had a Barbie fairy movie. So I feel like those are kind of the main three categories sometimes that Barbie tends to fall in. So I think it would have been nice to see a fairy movie over a mermaid movie again. In saying that though, it would have been refreshing to see other ideas too. I, of course, am a big advocate for an ice skating movie. But yeah, I just think we've just recently seen that, and I just didn't think it was a very original idea, which also made me not very excited for it. Let me get into my points. Okay, so if you haven't watched it, the premise of the movie is it's like a sequel to Dolphin Magic. It takes place after that. I didn't like that I could see plot holes and weird pacing within it. Things that a kid probably wouldn't notice because they're just a child and it's just a sequel, but as an adult viewer, I'm like, and I know it's like a Barbie movie, like plot holes, whatever, but it just was just unreasonable, which is why a sequel just wouldn't really work very well to Dolphin Magic. So at the start of it, they're like cleaning up the ocean, and then Barbie's necklace that she has from Dolphin Magic starts glowing, and then it's like them being called by Isla, and then suddenly Brooklyn's like, oh, what's that? And they're like, oh, it's a necklace. And then they decide to go help Isla. But they all go and they all turn into mermaids, and that's just really, really strange to me. Being a mermaid was just kind of Barbie's thing. And this doesn't make sense. This is one of the first things that didn't make sense to me, is that they all became mermaids. Her sisters included, when I say all. So it was Barbie, her 3 sisters, and Brooklyn. But why didn't she share that power with her sisters in Dolphin Magic? That doesn't make sense. Like, we saw in Dolphin Magic how huge of a fan of mermaids Chelsea was. Like, absolutely obsessed, always talking about them, and like wanting to see a mermaid sort of thing. And then you'd think if Barbie could have shared the power then, she would have, would she not have? Like, it's Barbie, she would have totally shared that power with her sister, knowing how much she loved them. So why didn't she share it then, but she can share it now? That didn't make sense to me. That was just weird. Like, it just doesn't make sense. She would have shared it if she could have been, so why can she suddenly share it now? And it kind of feels like it was like a special thing that Isla was gifting that power to Barbie and Barbie alone, and suddenly she can just share it with everybody. Yeah, I think that took away a bit of the specialness. It was also just strange to see, I guess, the sisters as mermaids too. I don't know. That was the first thing. The second thing, I've forgotten her name again, but the scientist, the evil lady scientist is back. The one that's centered around in the first movie. In the first movie, she's trying to catch the dolphins and then, you know, make money off of them and all that. So yeah, the evil one, she's back, but now she's like gone crazy because she's all just like, there are mermaids out there, and everybody's like, you're an idiot, there's no such thing as mermaids, stop wasting research time and money and all of that. So she's kind of going insane. But then this is the next kind of plot hole. She mentions the time frame that she's known about mermaids for years. So this is confusing, because didn't she just discover about mermaids in the last movie? But years would imply that a couple years at least has passed. So Barbie and her sisters would be older, but time just doesn't progress like that. Time doesn't really progress. They're kind of stuck in a perpetual 1 year sort of state. So that just didn't really make sense, because has it been years? If it has, then like, I don't know, is Barbie older? Is she like in her 20s now? Like, what's going on there? That didn't make sense. But then she proceeds to say that she knew about mermaids because her grandma told her stories about them, so she's always known they've existed. But that doesn't make sense, because she didn't know about that in the last movie, right? There's just a big question mark there, like, what? You didn't know about this, right? So I don't know, that whole kind of thing left a question mark over my head, like the time frame of things. But then her saying she's always known about them, and I'm like, but you didn't always know about them. If you'd always known about them, that would explain the years thing, but then you didn't. So that was confusing that they kind of just threw that in there. The next annoying thing was everybody got their powers before Barbie, of course, and that to make such a big deal about it. Like, Skipper was all just like, oh, I got my powers before you. That never happens. And I'm like, oh, of course they have to rub it in. Like, they have to like really push to make Barbie less than everybody else now. And I just get this feeling a lot more these days that they're really trying to push Barbie to the background, push her down, like put her behind everybody else rather than center stage, always the best, always. And it's annoying because Barbie has already stated before that she's not perfect and she always has help and she's never just doing everything magically perfect on her own. But yet they're continually trying to push this point of Barbie being imperfect, and I think we already know that she's imperfect, but that's just really annoying how they kind of make a point of that, and then Barbie's getting upset she doesn't have her powers. It's just, yeah, that was my next annoying thing. The next thing was the songs. Shannon and I have always been a huge fan of the songs. We love the songs, made a couple music videos to the songs. So we always like really look forward to songs within Barbie movies. but I just didn't really enjoy it. Like, they're okay, but I just get really kiddie vibes from them now. Like, and I know, yeah, they're kids' movies, but I feel like songs before could be appreciated by anybody and they were just good songs, but now I just feel like they're really, really kiddish. Like little toddler kiddish sort of songs, not just like general kid age from like toddler to teen, which I feel like, well, tween at least, which was what Barbie used to market themselves towards. So I just felt like the songs were okay, but just not something I would be listening to all the time. They're just not the same as what they were, so it's kind of disappointing because you look forward to that. And then the last point that I have to make was that there was no quote. So of course there was no quote. That's not really news. They don't do quotes anymore, which is also another really favourite part of Shannon and I of the movies. But I have a self-appointed quote. There was something that the mermaid ruler said at the end of the movie which I really liked. She said, because, you know, the evil scientist lady became a mermaid, and then she was like, what can I do to help? I really want to help. I don't want to be evil anymore. And then the queen says, respect our world by treating yours better. So I really did like that quote. That's just not that's the unofficial quote, I would say. Jen and I always look for inspiration, and I really do like that because it is so true, you know, respect the sea by treating our world better. And it's such a simple thing to live by, honestly. You know, things like, you know, not polluting the ocean, making sure you put your rubbish in bins and take care of things like that, making sure we stand for good causes that are all about protecting ocean marine wildlife and keeping the oceans clean. Shannon and I love the ocean and the sea, so we're of course passionate about keeping it nice and clean and healthy and protecting the environment just in general. So I just really liked that quote. That was a really nice bit of inspiration to take from the movie, and probably the best part of the movie, to be honest. I can't really say anymore if it's as good as Video Game Hero or worse, which is kind of our scale, because it's been so long since we've watched it. So I'm like, I think I need to rewatch Video Game Hero just to reset the scale. I just think for me, the things just, there was a lot that didn't make sense. I couldn't enjoy things like the songs, and there was a lot of songs too for such a short movie because it's only like just over an hour, so there's a lot of songs. So it just wasn't as enjoyable. It's very fast paced too, considering how the movies are only an hour. I think just adding like an extra 10 or 20 minutes can really add a lot more to the plot of it. I miss Barbie's other friends, and I also just miss Barbie doing solo movies, not with anybody else. Like, I just would like her by herself, but that's probably not going to happen. Give it a chance, give it a watch. You might enjoy it more than I do, or you might share the same opinions as I do. It's hard to really say, but I think for me, rewatching it, I would give it a miss because I just didn't enjoy it overall. Yeah, so I guess those were my thoughts on Mermaid Power. If you have watched it, I would love to hear what you guys think of it, whether you actually enjoyed it or whether you thought the same as me. Thanks for listening, dolls, and I will see you in the next video.